Hello everyone, it's Dr. Horowitz here in speaking about our cross-cultural communication course. Happened to be in a lovely Spanish town called San Sebastian in northern Spain, just a few miles from the French border. So I guess it doesn't get much more culturally interesting than the setting that I'm sitting at. And the reason I'm here now is I just wanted to share with you a little bit more about the final activity that will be required at the very end of our course. And I just didn't want to wait till the very end to try to give you a sense of what that project is about. And in fact, there are some things that we can do even now to coordinate that effort. What I'd like to do, and have done in the past, is to have each of you become a member of a small group. And technically, I'll be arranging those groups as early as today, no later than tomorrow. With our class enrollment, you will have 3 people, no more, but 3 people who will constitute your group. And when you click on our course, you go to the groups setting, and your group and only your group will have access. And this is a place where you can interact with one another. You may want to exchange email, telephone numbers, because the project will require you to assume a specific role as a member of a team that is part of an organization that does business internationally. So one of your first jobs will be to get together and decide upon a product or a service, even an idea that you want your company to be all about. Now, I've seen students in the past take that opportunity to invent a hypothetical project or product, and you can do that. You can use an established company. You can use a company you're currently with. The idea isn't so much about the product or the service, but it's really about how well you're prepared to interact and communicate with a international company in another part of the world who may have very different ways of approaching business. They may have a very different cultural value just by being in a different country. They may have a different language to some extent. But the universal connection with all of us is our personal differences, such as our communication style, our learning styles, and so on. So the idea is to recognize that you just don't put a product together and then go somewhere and make a sales pitch. Your evaluation will be all about how well you analyze your counterparts in that other company. So let's assume you are going to be invited. Someone has heard about your product in some other country, and you'll be able to select that country once you've completed our next module and the one after, and you'll be able to use a text in which you find out a lot of details about how people conduct business in different countries throughout the world. And this is vital to know, because you may think that being open and friendly and physical perhaps, and touching people in certain ways, or using certain gestures demonstrate your friendliness, when in fact you may be doing exactly the opposite and offending someone, because in their culture that particular gesture, language, word has a very different meaning than you may have intended. And you'll read about a lot more of that as we engage in the upcoming modules. But what I'd like for you to do first is know that this is what the project is about, and each of you will assume a position such as a marketing person, a quality control person, perhaps a CEO, and you'll be talking to your counterpart across the table. Now, you won't have an actual presentation, so your task is to outline and to plan what exactly you would say and how you would greet and interact with your counterpart, who may very well have the similar communication style, but a very different set of values, because their cultural programming may be quite different and their society may look at certain values quite different than your own. So it's really not so much about business as it is about communication. But we're using business to, quote, keep it real and make it seem like a more realistic effort on your part. But your strategies will be all about how you will communicate effectively with your counterparts in order to maximize your performance. So with that, I'll have you to engage with one another. You can begin to plan your product and prior to doing research about your other country. I would focus first on meeting your fellow organizational team and then creating a product. You are welcome to get together physically, go to a Starbucks, sit together. You all know about technology, and you can arrange your own technical meetings if you'd like amongst the three of you, or engage in a telephone conference call. That's your choice. So I hope this explanation doesn't overwhelm you. It's simply setting the stage. There's also a written explanation coming up in our next module, which will again reinforce what I'm saying, provide you with many more details, and I'll also include a model project that other students have done in the past that you can gain some ideas from as well. With that, from my little bench in San Sebastian, Spain, I wish you well, and I'll see you in the next module.